Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Now, dear fellows, students, and specifically speaking, the House Officers, this is the channel which very recently launched yesterday on 21st of the April for the guidelines of the House Officers. Before starting the other important tutorials related with the House Officers, let me speak something about a very interesting topic that is now misnomer, and this is what we call as Introduction to the PBL and how to study. And an example is this. This is the problem-based learning, or CBL means case-based learning. The problem-based learning means that 2 or 3 or 4 house officers who are working in the ward, they can study like this. This is the best way to study, because the ultimate supervisors or immediate supervisor, intermediate supervisors of the house officers are busy and they cannot give time to the house officers. That is why I am doing this job online. Now, this is the new innovative curriculum and traditional medical curriculum. Now, here look that as student-centered, problem-based, it is integrated, it is community-based, it is elective, and it is systematic. SPICES, spices. On the other hand, in comparison with the traditional medical curricula, which I have studied, and most of the friends and colleagues have studied since many years, are teacher-centered, informative, information gathering. You have to gather the information yourself. It is discipline-based, because discipline is the main thing. You cannot ask the questions whether relevant or irrelevant. It is hospital-based, not community-based. Whatever is available in the hospital, what type of the issues are admitted in the hospital, you have to study and gain experience. It is elective. Elective means that you are programmed. Program is made by the students themselves. Elective studies it is. But the traditional studies, it is standard studies which is written already in the books. For example, it is written in what is the clinical methods or so on. What is written, that's all. Now here it is apprenticeship based. You are apprentice to the supervisor. It is based of the apprenticeship. But for the PBL is concerned, it is systematic. Any part by part will be taken. You can watch my videos. It was always systematic, not apprenticeship based. So all my videos which I have previously launched, they are systematic. Everything is discussed with the problem, whether cardiovascular or GI tract or whatever it is. The spices. So it is the spices and the problem-based learning. What is this? It's easy to understand. That instructional student-centered approach, which are carefully constructed clinical problems as a context for the students to define their learning needs, conduct conduct self-directed inquiry, integrate theory and practice, and apply knowledge and skills to develop a solution to a defined problem. For example, a case of CLD is admitted in the board. So you have to take the history and other things as well as other things, and then what the student should 2 or 3 or 4 students, they are gathered together and they study what is called as combined study. Conduct self-directed inquiry. They research it from the papers, from the books, from the engines like Google and other internet engines. Integrate theory afterwards and then practice it and apply it, the knowledge and skills. And then they apply all of this to develop a solution to a defined problem, and it benefits the patient. In this way you can understand many years what I have seen in 1972. I can recall in 2022. If this type of study can be launched or possibly done. The problem solving versus problem based learning. Different but interrelated terminologies. Now, these two terminologies we use here, the problem solving versus problem based learning. If this is a problem based learning, it will definitely lead to the problem solving. The problem solving is arriving at decision based on the prior knowledge and reasoning. 100% perfect, one diagnosis, rather 2 diagnoses maximum. But problem-based learning, the process of acquiring new knowledge based on the recognition of a need to learn. And that is why there are many differential diagnoses. If you have got the background knowledge and you know how to do it, then the problem-solving terminology will be used. If you learn from one book to other books, the journals and other seniors told you how to do it, it will take time. But what happened that the differential diagnosis can be made, but the main diagnosis cannot be achieved in this learning. Problem-based learning, you have to start. Problem posed, for example, patient of CLD. Now then identify what we need to know about this problem, and then learn it from the books, from the journals, from the seniors, then apply it, and the circle going on. Now, subject-based learning, problem-solving talk. Have you to start it, told what we need to know, and then learn it, and given problem to illustrate how to use it, your knowledge, in the management strategies. How to manage this case now, perfectly. Requirements of the PBL is a clinical problem, real, your actual case. It may be a grey case, which I will show you, grey case definitely, and occasionally it may be actual or real case. Secondly, analysis, the previous theoretical knowledge, if you don't have the theoretical knowledge previously, I will do it. Then there is clinical experience, whatever it is, from the first year MBBS to the final year MBBS, and during the house job, some experience was gained, and you know that the use of resources are the notes and the books and the magazines and the journals. These are the resources which we use. And then discussion help with the friend, with the teacher. You discuss, 2 or 3 or 4 group will be made and they discuss it. An analysis of the problem by extracting the soft data and hard data now. The hard data should be evaluated and the soft data will be evaluated from that problem. And this is the thing which is missing in most of the cases. The people don't know about it. The soft data is very important, and hard data very important, very important parameters for the analysis of a problem. And then interactive session with the facilitator of the PBL. If the facilitator is not available, then 2 or 3 persons will themselves make one person a facilitator, and then they start discussion. Summoned by the interference lesson achieved from the PBL. In the end, there will be inference, a lesson you achieved will be written on the piece of the paper. And this is the, for example, CLD, in the end, you said that the problem is actually accentuated because the patient has taken daily 120 gram, 130 gram per kilogram body weight proteins. The lesson given is this, that a lot of proteins have been entering into the system. It will convert it into the nitrogenous substance and it will harm the liver. This is the lesson. Example of PBL uploaded in the web. The website is this, that a 25-year-old drug addict presented in the medical OPD complaining of the intermittent fever with rigors off and on for the last 6 months. Now he lost significant amount of weight and used to travel outside the country, often for business matter. On examination, temperature is 100 degree, pulse 102, BP is 115/60. And there will be positive cervical lymph nodes palpable of 0.5 centimeter, spleen palpable 2 centimeters below the costal margin, liver is pulsatile liver, and palpable of more than 7 centimeter. A grade 3 murmur heard of left parasternal border, and hemoglobin was 8 gram, TLC is 21,000, very high. Platelet is 400,000, is high. The MCV is 82, it is normal. MCHC, MCH normal. So it is not iron deficiency anemia. Normal X-ray test, there is minimal cardiomegaly was observed. Question is that the differential diagnosis by 1 or 2 or 3 people can make it by using the soft data, the diagnosis, investigations, management. And usually confirmed diagnosis will be made if you differentiate diagnosis will be held by the investigations, judicial investigation. Now, step 1 is read the given scenario carefully. Step 2, separate soft data from the hard data from the problem. Here, what is written in this drug addict? The red is the hard data. Grade 3 murmur heard of the left parasternal border, hard data. And the cardiomegaly with normal X-ray chest. These are hard data. The soft data is in greenish. It is young person, fever with the rigors, 6 months, it is a long duration, travel outside the country. This is very important point. Although he studied it, but he traveled outside the country for the business matter. Otherwise, there is the pulse is not helpful, the BP is not helpful, the temperature is already, he said that he has feverish, it's not helpful. Only thing is the liver is pulsatile and palpable of more than 7 centimeter. This can help. Important thing is the cervical lymph nodes palpable 0.5 centimeter with the splenomegaly. Now these are some of the hard data. You can put in the hard data, some of them put in the soft data. There are 4 or 5 people sitting around. Some say that is soft data, some say that is hard data, some say that it is hard data as well as soft data. No problem. Just write it down and see what happens. Soft data, a young male, intermittent fever with the rigors of 6 months, weight loss, type businessman, he is anemic, cervical lymphadenopathy, splenomegaly. The hard data discussion with the paroxysm of unknown origin because more than 6 months He was drug addict. There are certain conditions associated with the drug addict people. Pulsatile hepatomegaly means that the liver is actually enlarged or congested. The right side of the heart, there is something going wrong. And then pansystolic murmur at the tricuspid area, not at the mitral area. And evidence of the cardiomegaly on the X-ray chest. This will help you in the diagnosis, narrowing your differential diagnosis to 1, 2, or 3. Analyze the soft data and make differential diagnosis. For example, they read all the causes of the prolonged fever in youngs and select most likely etiology. The information can be collected from the textbooks, referral books, journals, internet, from the Google search or the medical websites. You can do it. These are the, what are the causes of the PUO in the youngs. Step 3 is in this differential diagnosis. With the help of soft data, it may be enteric fever, malaria, HIV, infective endocarditis, tuberculosis, brucellosis, syphilis, connective diseases, infectious fevers, drug-induced fevers, so on. Now this is all are written as PUO because of the duration of the fever is 6 months and it is fulfilling the criteria of the PUO. Step 4 is the discuss among the fellows in the presence of facilitator. If the facilitator is not present, then the person who has got the slightly higher knowledge in your group, he will become a facilitator. Now shortlist differential diagnosis by viewing heart data. क्या चीज़ थी? For example, a young drug addict having prolonged fever, a tricuspid regurgitation, it is the tricuspid regurgitation which causes the pansystolic murmur at the right parasternal border, and that is why it is a pulsatile hepatomegaly. Justified one diagnosis only from this. And that is if you go for the WhatsApp phone to America, to your friend who is working in the internal medical ward, he will listen to all of your case and then he can make the diagnosis at once that it is the right-sided bacterial endocarditis because of drug addiction, because the fever because of the other features which are presented in this case. Now how we can study? That is the one. Now this case can be remembered forever. But you have to definitely prove it. Prove it by blood culture, by echocardiography. These are major criteria, Duke's criteria. And step 6 is discuss among fellows, your friends, in the presence of the facilitator. If the facilitator is not present, then the one person who is a senior person and who knows more than you, become a facilitator then. The management plan. General measures. Always remember, you should write this general measures. Admit the patient in the ward. Place 2 cannulas. Intake output chartings. If it is so weak and he is in failure, then possibly the catheterization is needed. Possibly. And the bed side, the head side of the bed should be raised because it is in failure. The general measures are like this. Write it down. Specific measures A, B, C, D. Number 1, the electrolyte balance. Number 2, acid-base balance. Number 3, fluid balance. Number 4, caloric balance. Number 5, the specific measures antibiotics. Choose those antibiotics which can affect these persons very well. There are classes of antibiotics which we are using, which can cover most of the bacteria. Because culture will show you which is the organism. If it is not shown because of the previous antibiotic therapy, then choose the triple regime. Cheapest one is the triple regime, gentamicin, metronidazole, and ampicillin or amoxicillin. Cheapest medicine in the world. Otherwise, you will give one of the beta-lactams like meropenem or monobactams, and you will combine with the gram-negative gentamicin. Some people also combine with the moxifloxacin. Symptomatic measures. The patient is in a problem, is in failure. Give diuretics to reduce the pressure, preload. For the afterload, you give very small dose of the angiotensin receptor blockers. And on the heart, because he can go into any type of dysarrhythmia, low dose of the ISA, intrinsic symptomatic type of the beta blockers. Dietary measures in this case, patient is actually doesn't want to take food, so give the nutrition palatable food. The high carbohydrate diet should be given because it's not diabetic. Should be at least 60% of the 100. And then 30% should be taken from the proteins and 10% will be taken from the triglycerides or from the fats. So उस type की diet should be chosen. Then surgical measures could be done in those cases where the failure is there after your antibiotic therapy is failed, or there is a fungal type of a disease, or if the tricuspid valve is not original valve, it is a prosthetic valve. These are the surgical measures, or repeated or refractive type of a congestive cardiac failure. These are the indication of the surgical measures. You will definitely, this knowledge will be gained by learning the books or the journals. Local measures means that if there is a problem, for example, bed sores, a problem if the patient lie down for 2 to 3 weeks, so massaging should be done, the proper physiotherapy should be done. The preventive measures, because these cases who have got the valve involvement, or by any cause, they are prone to develop the infection of the streptococcus. So you give these patients the prophylactic therapy for the streptococcus, that is the penicillin and benzethymine penicillin. It should be given 1.2 million per month to save the other valves. And preventive measures, another one is drug addiction. For the drug addiction, you have to take help from the psychiatry department or psychological department. Step 7, extract knowledge from the books, journals, internet, discuss recent advances of the illness. For example, role of anticoagulant in the bacterial endocarditis should not be given. If you give the anticoagulant, it will break up. It will become small emboli, and there will be pulmonary embolism. If there is a stressing indication that you can give TPA, you will read this thing from the books, not from me. ये तो मैंने बता दिया ना आपको, लेकिन जर्नल में क्या लिखा है, रिसेंट एडवांस क्या है, वो उसमें आपको मिलेगा. Step 8, discuss how to counsel the patient को convince करना है. The patient to quit the offending drugs जो ले रहा है, डायमॉर्फिन ले रहा है, कुछ और ले रहा है, आइस ले रहा है, वगैरह ले रहा है, कुछ भी ले रहा है, इंजेक्टेबल ले रहा है, हाइजीनिक जितनी भी चीज़ें हैं वो सारी की सारी शुड बी डिस्कस्ड. ये बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है, यानी वो दोबारा फिर इसको आप ठीक नहीं कर सकेंगे, पेशेंट वो वापस आ जाएगा. तो उसके लिए साइकोलॉजिकल डिपार्टमेंट, साइकेट्रिक डिपार्टमेंट और आपके पास जो प्रिवेंटिव मेडिसिन का डिपार्टमेंट है, या खुद आप आप खुद उसको जो है ना हेल्थ टिप्स दें, तो ये मसला हल हो जाएगा बड़े आसानी के साथ. दिस इज़ हाउ वी डिस्कस द केस. देखिए, जो भी केस एडमिट होगा, फर्स्ट कीजिए आपके पास 8 बेड है. ये 8 बेड का मतलब ये हुआ कि पूरी किताब लिखी जा सकती है. हर बेड की अपनी अपनी स्टोरी है. ہر بیڈ کے اوپر جو ہے نا وہ آپ 4 کا گروپ بنا لیں. ان کے پاس بھی بیڈ ہیں, آپ کے ساتھی آپ کے پاس بھی بیڈس ہیں, آپس میں انٹرمنگل ہو جائیں, ایک کو ڈسکس کر کے الگ کریں اور اس کو اپنے جرنل میں لکھیں, تاکہ ہمیشہ کے لیے جو ہے نا پکا ہو جائے. وہ آپ کو کوئی چھیڑ نہیں سکتا, بعد میں نا یاد آ جائے گا, آپ کو فوراً یاد آ جائے گا, سارا ڈیو کرائٹیریا بھی یاد آ جائے گا, یہ بھی یاد آ جائے گا, ایوری تھنگ. یہ میں نے آپ کو ایک انتہائی امپورٹنٹ چیز بتا دی ہے. تو یہ کوئی پریکٹس کرتا نہیں ہے پی بی ایل کو. اگر آپ صحیح طریقے سے سمجھ لیں آپ پی بی ایل کو تو مسئلہ حل ہو سکتا ہے. یہ میرا جو ہے نا انٹروڈکٹری لیکچر سمجھ لیں, آپ کو سمجھانے کے لیے بتا رہا ہوں, آپ کو نصیحت کر رہا ہوں. یہ میری نصیحت ہے, اور میں آخر میں یہ جملہ بھی کہتا ہوں کہ وصیت ہے کہ اپنے آپ کو اسٹڈی کریں تو اس طرح سے کریں کہ بیڈ کی اوپر اسٹڈی کریں, پیشنٹ فوکس اسٹڈی کریں. اور یہ پی بی ایل کیا جائے گا, اس پہ پرابلم بیسڈ لرننگ کی جائے گی, پرابلم سالونگ لرننگ کی جائے. تو وہاں علینا الا البلاغ. امید ہے کہ آپ کی بات سمجھ میں آئی ہوگی. یو اپریشیٹ, آئی ڈونٹ نو اباؤٹ اٹ. آپ جو ہے نا آپ اس کو دے سکتے ہیں. میں نے آپ کو نمبر بھی اپنے بتایا تھا کہ 03361311186 03361311186 03361311186. اس کے اوپر آپ اپنا جو کوشچن ہے وہ کر سکتے ہیں, آپ فیڈ بیک دے سکتے ہیں. کم از کم یہ کہ سبسکرائب تو چینل کو کریں نا, کیونکہ ہاؤس آفیسرس ہیں جتنے بھی ہیں, کراچی ہیں, باہر ہیں, ادر کنٹریز میں ہیں, ان کی ہیلپ ہو جائے گی کس طرح سے ورک کرنا چاہیے. پلیز اس کو پروموٹ کیجئے, اس چینل کو بھی. وما علینا الا البلاغ. السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ.